So, choosing a school, choosing a club to train at. First, before we do that, we need to choose a style. Why do you want to train? Is it to learn how to have a scrap? If it is, to learn how to have a fight. Is it in terms of match fighting, or is it in terms of self-defense, which is you're walking home on a Friday night and someone steps out and won't let you pass? So we need to decide why you're wanting to learn before we choose an actual club. So not everybody learns martial arts because they want to fight. Some people learn martial arts because it's a safe, respectable environment for them to get out of the house. Yeah, it could just purely be the exercise thing of it that takes them. A lot of people get bored running. A lot of people just don't like the feel and the atmosphere of a gym. So take a martial arts class. It's going to be an hour, maybe 2 hours a week, where for the majority of that time you're going to be up, you're going to be moving around, and you're going to be sweating. Some people do it because it's a nice way of getting out the house where they can meet friends. Yeah, you can make new friends in this very respectable environment. You know, the whole thing of martial arts is we have to be nice to one another, so you go there, got to make new friends. Other people do it because they want to learn how to fight. So the third option there of learning some type of fighting skill is what we'll be looking at with this. So if you've decided you're doing it because you want to learn how to fight, you then have to split it up and say, well, is it for the self-defense option or for match fighting? If it's for match fighting, I would suggest find the specific combat sport that interests you and get yourself in a club dedicated purely to that. So there's no point in doing karate if you're feeling a pull towards boxing. Yeah, there's no point in doing solely judo, if you're feeling a pull towards MMA. So if it's not for the combat sports, if it is just for I need the dedication and I need something to fill up an evening or two in my life, in my week. So let's look at the differences. We've got stand-up striking, we've got grappling. So what I would suggest is, if you are more comfortable with long-range fighting, where they're not going to get that close to you, and when they do come into sort of a specific area, you're throwing up strikes, you're throwing up punches or kicks, that would be stand-up striking. If you're more comfortable taking a hold of somebody and throwing them, or if you're more comfortable with submission holds and pin downs and locks and strangles, that would be the grappling. We're in a very, very blessed age right now, believe it or not, from a technological side, in that you can just go onto Wikipedia, and if you search martial arts, it will come up as striking or grappling. Have a look at what each entails. So just know that stand-up and striking is going to be throwing punches at each other, throwing kicks, throwing knees. Grappling is going to be close quarter, skin on skin, primarily ending where someone is thrown to the ground. If it's not thrown where someone is thrown to the ground, it then ends when the person thrown is placed in either a pin hold down or a submission hold. Which of those two sounds the more appealing to you? Because what works for me won't work for you. What works for a third person wouldn't work for either of us again. That's the beauty of it. That's why there are so many martial arts offering so many different things. Not everybody takes martial arts to learn how to fight. It could be because you want to get out of the house and make new friends. It could be because you want to exercise, but the gym or going for a long jog just bores the hell out of you. That's fine. Whatever your reasoning is, it's absolutely fine as long as you're 100% honest with yourself for the reason you're doing it. So don't say, oh, I live in a bad neighborhood and my work puts me in front of bad people and I need to learn how to have a proper scrap, and then go and sign up for the Aikido club, the Taekwondo club, and the Kung Fu club. You're lying to yourself. The flip side of that is, if you're just doing it for the aspect of getting out of the house twice a week, don't sign up to the Greco-Roman class and the full-on boxing class, because you're going to get squished. If your heart's not in it for the competition side of things, or for the actual legitimate self-protection type side of things, you're going to quit. Because your heart isn't in that area of it. Your heart is in the area of, I want to make new friends, I want to get a little bit fitter. This is something I can do where, because of the belt gradings, there's a reason for me to keep going and there's something for me to aim for. I've known people who wanted to do martial arts to get fitter, and they had a choice between boxing and judo. The boxing they turned down because they didn't want to compete, and they couldn't get their heads into it to keep going to a boxing class. If I'm never going to compete, there's no point. With judo, they kept going and they kept getting gradings. It was something to aim for. So again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel compelled to keep going to your martial arts class purely because you've got a grading coming up and it's something to aim for, that's fine. Just be 100% honest with yourself that that's why you're there. There's no problem with it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. What I train for and what you train for and what he trains for and what she trains for could be completely different things. That's absolutely fine. That's okay. There's no problem with that. As long as we each individually are 100% truthful with ourselves about why we're doing it. Now, once you've made your decision, striking or grappling, which one sounds more appealing, go online and just search literally on Wikipedia martial arts, striking arts. That will then give you a full list of it. Read through the pages. Is karate more to your liking? Is boxing? Is it some of the offshoots? Is it Muay Thai kickboxing? Is it Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do? With karate itself, you're going to be presented with about 23 different styles. Shotokan, Kyokushin, Goju-ryu, Goju-kai, Ishin-ryu, Shito-ryu, Shinto-ryu. Right? There's a lot of them out there. Wado-ryu. There's a lot of them out there. If you're just doing it for the health and fitness benefit and for the benefit of something I can focus on and delve into, it probably isn't going to matter a great deal which one you go into. Shotokan is probably going to be the most readily available because that's the most common / popular style of karate. So that's probably going to be available for you. If it is just the big kicks and you don't really care about being able to fight or whatever, you're probably going to have a Taekwondo club in your city. If it's a smaller village, you're probably still going to have a Taekwondo club. They're everywhere. Taekwondo, at last check, was the most popular / common style of martial arts on the planet. With that, you've got the International Taekwondo Federation, the ITF, and you've got the World Taekwondo Federation, the WTF. Again, look into it. Once you've got a short list of 3 or 4 different styles that appeal to you, immediately jump onto the video sharing websites. YouTube, Dailymotion, blah, 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 blah. Search them. Search that particular style demonstration, that particular style in a fight, that particular style self-defense. See what they have to offer. See if it's something for you. Once you've picked one that keeps grabbing your attention for whatever reason, then off that, delve into that a little bit more deeply. Look at some of the websites of the clubs across the world that teach that style and see, is there consistency with what the syllabus is? Is there consistency with the way it trains? So you could get 2 different clubs in 2 separate countries that claim to be the same style, but they're completely different. That's up to you if you still want to train it. If it's just something for you to do to get out the house, then there's probably not going to be much of a concern there. If it's a case of you want something that you can hang your hat and say, I'm part of this organisation and I'm part of this lineage, then I would definitely look into where it comes from, because you don't want to spend 4, 5, 6 years of this getting to black belt, probably sooner, just to then find out that actually it's not associated with any governing body. Governing bodies is a very important thing also, because it usually covers your personal insurance for training with the club and to actually register you and acknowledge you with whatever grade you've got. That will go on a different clip that I'm going to do later today on choosing a club. For now, we're just dealing with choosing a style. So that was striking. The flip with grappling. You might look at the grappling arts and you might say, okay, well, I like the idea of wearing a jacket. I like the idea of being able to grab the jacket and throw people. Jacketed wrestling styles, you're looking at judo, and if it's in your area, you're looking at sambo. Flip of that, you might go, no, I like the jacket and I like the grappling, but I don't like the big throws. In that case, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's 90% of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is focused on the ground. The throws in BJJ should be taught in a controlled, safe way. That's not quite as full on aggressive as it is in judo. It doesn't really matter which way you train them. It's going to be there. If your goal is to study martial art just to get a black belt in as quick a time as possible, I would definitely say avoid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because you're looking at 10 to 12 years minimum to get your black belt in that art, because it's a very usable, effective martial art, and they don't just hand out the belts. If you're just after getting a martial arts black belt, I don't want anyone to come at me here, but Taekwondo, I've known of people who have literally, because they've shown up to every single session and they've paid for the whole thing in advance, at the end of a 12, 13 month period, they've been granted their black belt purely because they've paid for it, and in that way they bought their grade. I'm not saying that's every Taekwondo club, but this isn't the first time on the internet that someone's pointed out that you can buy your black belt in Taekwondo. Again, it's completely up to you. Some people, Tony Robbins, the self-help guy, Um, he set his mind on, I want a black belt. A black belt is a level of achievement. It's something that still today, if you say, "Oh, I'm a black belt," people go, "Oh, damn." He decided he wanted a black belt, so he took a taekwondo instructor on the road with him, and he paid for private lessons. And within that 12-month period, and I have no doubt Tony Robbins worked for it, because that's the type of person he seems to be. But again, it could, if your thing for martial arts is just to train in a martial arts, people say, "I'm a black belt." That's absolutely fine. Go do that. There are martial arts that will be an easier road, shall I say. None of them will be simple and very easy, but there are easier and there are harder. Getting your black belt in judo, it's not going to be an easy thing. Getting it in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it's not going to be an easy thing. Don't try and get it in sambo, because sambo doesn't have black belts. You get master of sport. Although in some clubs in Britain they have introduced the coloured belt grading system, just because it's easier to explain to people, it's easier to get people connected. So again, look it up, the individual style, before you choose that this is the style I'm going to go for. If you're looking for the sporting aspect of it, look into that. If you're looking for legitimate self-defense, there are certain styles that lend themselves easier to legitimate self-defense. I would say, from my own point of view, with what we teach at Arbud, you've got boxing, Thai boxing, judo, Greco-Roman wrestling, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's just my opinion. There will be people out there that can use any style in the world and still be taking people off the planet. You look at a guy like Gary Spears. He used Goju. I think he was Goju Kai. He used karate. You've got Terry O'Neill, who used Shotokan karate. You've got Dan Martin, who was he a Shotokan or was he a Goju guy? I think he was a Shotokan guy. I think. I'll have to go back and read Working with Warriors by Dan Martin, which I've already done a book review on this site. Look up that clip. But he went off and became the number one guy, or a world revolutionary, in making martial arts work for legitimate street fighting, self-defense, and he ended up bodyguarding a whole bunch of people to 2 months ago to now. So some people will make any system work, but we have to look at what system has the most effective techniques, which system provides techniques that have the highest percentage of working for whatever it is we're doing. If you're just doing it to keep fit, but you would also like something that will work, I was never in better shape than I was when I was doing Thai boxing. Thai boxing will burn lots and lots of calories per session, and it's one of the most effective of systems for fighting, for stand-up fighting. So lots of different things to look into. Don't just jump into something because someone online has said this is the best martial art. There is no best martial art. It is purely dependent on what you yourself are looking to get out of it. And as I've mentioned, that varies from each individual. There will be, I've got a friend who's 6'7". In Thai boxing, he'd be effective because he's got those long legs. He could kick you in the face, no problem. If you've got my other friend who's 5'6", he's not going to be kicking anybody in the head. So you have to look at it in that each body type will lend itself to different types of martial arts and fighting styles and fighting distances and ranges. So don't just buy into this one blanket covers everybody. It doesn't. Find what is best for you. Be 100% truthful on why you are studying the martial art before you decide to jump into it. Be 100% truthful with yourself on what you are looking to get out of it. And be 100% truthful with yourself that the club that's right around the corner that all your friends go to might not be the most effective for you. It might not give you what you want to get out of it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong at all with saying, that's great, that's not what I'm after for me. So I hope this helps. I hope you take some of that on board, and let me know in the comments. Queries, questions, suggestions, anything whatsoever, let me know. Get in touch. This is supposed to be an interactive channel for an interactive club. The more feedback you give me, the better I can tailor the videos for what people want to see. So train hard, train smart, stay safe.